Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be looking at how to create this student's performance report that you can see on your screen using Power BI. This is a useful tool for teachers and educators to understand the performance of their students in an academic year. The highlight of this report is this box plot down here, which I created using native visual in Power BI. So stick around and watch to the end to be able to understand how I created this particular box plot. This is a two-page report. As you can see over here, we are currently on the overview page. We have the total number of students, distribution by gender, also the grade distribution by gender. We have the top 5 students over here, performance by race and ethnicity, then statistical overview of scores as a box plot. Right now, we have the parent education, as you can see on the slicer here. So I can change this category to another category. I can change it to race and ethnicity, for instance. You can see that distribution here as well. Then you can click on anywhere for the slicer to come down. Then here we can see the launch impact on reading and math score. On the second page, this particular page is actually, you can filter this page generally by gender, female for instance. Everything filters for that particular category selected on the slicer. Then on the student details page, we have a table of the different student IDs, gender, and parent education. Over here, we have a progress bar with the color code here highlighting different average scores. So when you click on this information icon, it explains what the color codes are. Then this particular page also can be filtered using different slicer categories. So let's get started. If you're new to this channel, do click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification to get notified when I post new videos. The Power BI file as well as the data set I'm going to be using for this are in the description below if you want to follow along. So we're going to start by creating a background on PowerPoint. These are the two wireframes that I created. You can see that they are similar, just the number of shapes that differs. So I'll create this first one and you can replicate the second one. So on a new slide, I will insert a shape, a rectangle in this case, cover the whole slide with that, change the fill to this no outline. The next thing I'm going to do is to add another shape, a rectangle as well, for my header. I want the height of 1.29. Change the fill. I want to change it to the shade of green. No outline as well. Then I will add my line. Change the outline of the line to this. Click on the line, shape outline, more outline, shape outline, the weight of the line. I want it to just be 1. Then insert another shape, rounded rectangle now in this case. Adjust the edge. Change the height to 2.84. And the width, I want the width to be 3.67. Then change the fill. I want it to be the shade, no outline. Adjust it. Then duplicate. Change the shape fill to white. Then the width, I want to increase the width to 4.87. Then duplicate that as well. Reduce the width of this particular one to 4.05. Then drag that to the, click on the three of them, adjust this part. So I will have equal space on the two edges. Then click on the three of them and align. Distribute horizontally, align top. Then I'm going to duplicate this. Adjust to align with the shape at the top. Duplicate it again and adjust. Then I will duplicate this first one and place it down below here. Click on the three and ensure that all also distributed horizontally. Okay, so we have our wireframe. Next thing I'm going to do is to click Ctrl A, Ctrl G to group all, right click and save as picture. So while saving, rename what you like and save as SVG, scalable vector graphics. To import the backgrounds that we've created, so I'll click on format, canvas background, browse, click on image fit, change that to fit, reduce the transparency to 0. So we have the first page. Then for the second one, click on browse, change the image to fit, remove the transparency as well. So we have the two pages. Next thing we're going to do is to look at the data set that we're going to be using. This data set is gotten from kaggle.com. So like I said, it's going to be attached to the description if you want to follow along. So this is what the data set looks like. It's an Excel file. Here we have the student ID. We have the gender, race, parent education, whether bachelor's degree, some college, associate degree, lunch, standard, whether standard or free lunch, then test preparation course, whether the student completed the test preparation course or not, then the different scores in maths, reading, and writing. So we're going to import this data set into Power BI. So I'm going to click on Get Data, Excel Workbook. So this is the file. Click Open. So we have this sheet here. I'll click on it and click on Transform Data. So from the column quality that we have here, you can see that the data set is pretty clean. We don't have any error. And I can see that Power BI gave you can see that it changed type. So the type that it gave each individual column actually corresponds to those columns. So there's not much cleaning. The only thing I'm basically going to be doing here is to rename these different columns. I want them to be in proper case instead of just lower cases. So I'll do that quickly. So I'll click close and apply. Now we have our data sets imported into Power BI. This is the table view, and we have all the individual columns here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add a calculated column called student score, the score, which is basically going to be the math score plus the reading score plus the writing score divided by 3. So I'll right click, new column. So math score plus reading score plus writing score divided by 3 will give us the student score. So I'll change this particular number of decimal places to 0 so as to fit others. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add another calculated column, which is going to be for my grades. So I'm going to be assigning different grade categories to this score based on some conditions. So I'll right click on this new column as well. So we're going to be using a switch statement. This is pretty straightforward. If the score is greater than or equal to 95, assign it 0, which is, this is O, which is outstanding. If the score is greater than or equal to 81, A. If it is greater than or equal to 71, B. 41, E. And if it is outside all of these, just give it F, which is the lowest actually. So commit. You can validate to ensure that the correct scores were assigned to the numbers. So I have 55 as D, and in my condition, if it is greater than or equal to 55, 51 is D. I also have 66 as C, which is right. So this is actually giving us what it's supposed to be doing. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go over to the home page and create a new table for my measures, because I'll be writing a couple of measures to help me analyze the performance of students. So I like keeping all my measures on a separate table for easy access. Click on load. So we have that here. I can go back to the table view. So the first measure we're going to be creating is the total number of students. And for total number of students that we have in this class, in order to do that, I'll count the student ID column. I'll go to where I have my measures table, right click on that, new measures, number of students, which is equal to the student count of the student ID column. So we have that first one. The next measure is going to be the overall average of the score. So I want to find the overall average per student. So I'm going to right click on my measures table, new measure, average score is equal to average, then the score column. The next thing we are going to do is to calculate the average for the individual subjects, math, reading, and writing. So for math, we have new measure, average math, which is equal to just using the average function as well, math score. Then I'll do the same for reading, average reading is equal to average reading, then average writing. Is equal to average writing, the writing column. So the next measure we're going to be creating is going to be on the percentage number of students that are male and percentage number of students that are female. So to do that for male, I'll click on new measure, which is basically going to be distance count of the number of students, then filter for where you have male. So I'm going to right click new measure. So I'll be using this to calculate the percentage of male students. This is basically saying here, the first part, we have the count of the male student, calculate function, number of students, filter the gender uh, column where it is equal to male. So when you're writing this, ensure that you are writing the correct format of the particular gender within your data. Then this down part, just the total number of students, and then the percentage basically divide the number of male students versus the total number of students. So down here we have format. This format function is formatting this as percent with just one decimal place with the percentage symbol. So click commit. Then for female, I'm going to copy this and right click on this new measure, paste that as well, then change all male to female. Down here I will use the lowercase as well. For this part, click Ctrl Shift and L to change the two of them at the same time. Click OK. So I'm going to delete this column 1. Then go over to my model view so that I can group these measures I've created into one folder, because I'm going to be creating more measures so as to organize things. So I'll hold down Control key, select all these measures. Then these are my base measures. So I'll go back to my table view. So the next set of measures I'll be creating now are the measures I'll be using for my box plot chart. So the first thing I'm going to be creating will be the mean of the score. The box plot chart is going to be based on this score column, which is our students' individual scores. So the mean, so I'll right click on measure, new measure. So mean score, which is equal to, using the mean function, score column. Next is the max score, the maximum score, which is the opposite of mean. Max score, which is equal to max function, the score column. Next is the median score, new measure, median, which is equal to, we are going to be using the median function, still the score column. So next is to calculate the 25th percentile, so which is the value below which 25% of the data falls. So I'm going to click on new measure. I will use this particular DAX. So we have the percentile.in function. Here you can see I added 25% here to show the value below which 25% of the data falls in. Then I'm going to copy this because I want to create 75th percentile as well, which is the third quartile. That's the value below which 75% of the data falls in. So I'm going to paste this, change this 25, wherever I see 25, change that to 75. So we have the 75th percentile. Next is the interquartile range, which is the difference between the 75th percentile and 25th percentile. So new measure. So we have this, the difference between 75th and 25th, which is the interquartile range. Next is the interquartile range between the 25th percentile and the median, which is the 50th percentile. So I'm going to be using this measure, 25 to 50. So median score minus 25th percentile. Then finally, it's going to be the interquartile range between the 50th percentile and the 75th percentile. So I'll right click, new measure, and I will use this. So the 75th percentile minus the median score, commit. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create another measure that I'll be using in my box plot chart. I want the value of the y-axis to be 10% higher than the maximum score that I have in my data. So in order to do that, I'll use this measure. So the mass score, which we have created, times 1.1, which is 10%. So I want to increase my y-axis, the maximum, to be 10% than what I have in my data, so as to accommodate my box plot chart in a way that I want. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to also group these box plot measures together to arrange the whole view. So I'll go to my model view, mass score, hold down the control key to select all of them. Then the display folder is going to be box plot measures. So we have that folder here. The next thing we are going to do is to create another set of measures. Just like I showed here, these three progress donut charts were created using SVG. So I'm going to be creating another set of measures in order to be able to create these images that you can see. Also on this student details, this is an SVG chart as well. So I'll be creating a measure that I'll be using to create this chart. So the first one is going to be for the donut progress bar for mass score. So right click on new measure. So this is the SVG code that I am using. I'm going to attach this to the description so that you can have a closer look at this, but it's quite descriptive. Right now, the subject is math, because I reference this because I want it to show on the donuts. So when you scroll down, you will see where this particular subject is referenced as well. Then the average score. Here we have our average math measure that we've created in our base measure. Down here you have the radius, you have the fill color. Down here you also have the color of the text itself. So you can go through this. So this is for the math. Click commit. Then I'm going to, once I commit, I'll categorize this immediately to show there is an image. So categorize image URL. Then we are going to be creating that of reading and writing. For reading, we have, let me right click as well, new measure. The same thing similar to math, but wherever you see math, you replace that with reading. So you can see that we referenced our average reading measure, then reading here. Then for writing, right click on new measure. So this is for writing as well, just like we have for reading as well as math. So wherever you see subject, include writing, and we referenced our average writing measure as well. So the next is going to be the bar chart, the progress bar chart. So I'll right click on new measure. So for this progress bar chart, we added, just like we have for others, instead of donuts, we are referencing a bar. Here we have bar height and bar width here. Then we are referencing our average score measure as well. Then we have a conditional formatting here. These are the different colors of the color codes that we are using, the red, amber, and green. Then we have a switch statement down here. If the progress value is greater than or equal to 75, show me green color. If it is greater than or equal to 50, amber. Less than 50, that is a red. Okay, so down here we also have formatting that on the bar as well. You can, like I mentioned, this is going to be added to the resources below. You can look through it, it's quite explanatory. Click OK. So I'm going to go over to the model view. I can see that some of them have entered other measures that we've created, so I will categorize them as well. So student score, reading, as well as math score. So I'm going to add them to the SVG part, SVG measures. So we have the three different categories of measures that we are going to be using. So I'm going to start creating our visualization. So we'll start by creating the card visual here. So I'll click on new card. So the first measure that we're going to be adding to this will be the total number of students. Then I want this to be comma separated. I'll add the comma. Then start formatting this. Click on Format Painter. The size and style, the height, I want the height to be 176. The width of 328. Then scroll down, turn off the background. The padding is fine. Down to the callout value itself. Select number of students. I want the font value to be 35 and the font size to be the font itself to be Sergio semi-bold, and the alignment, this left align is fine. Then display unit none, so that I can see everything. Then where you have label, I want this to Sergio UI is fine, but I want to increase this to 18. Then change the color of this to black. Above value is fine. The space between label and I want to increase this to 10. Then scroll up to where I have this, click on all so as to enable the layout part. So expand this. I need to add reference label to enable this as well. So for the reference label part, I want to add my male students and female students. So I'm going to add the male and female students. I want to add this here, the male first. Okay, so I can go up to this part. This has been enabled now. I want to reduce this to 46, which is fine. Then down to the reference label part. For the first one, male student, I want the field name. I want to change that. I just want to see only male. And I want the size to be 14 and italics. And for the female, the color is fine. The value itself, I want the value to be 14 and bold. Then for the female, I will do the same for the female. Custom, remove the students, increase this to 14 and italics. Then the value 14 as well and bold. Then to enable this down part, I'll scroll up to the whole reference label so I can click on all, scroll down. My divider, I want the color of my divider to be this, and which is fine. And the background, I want to turn off the background. Then the layout, I want this row, but instead of sentence, I want tabular. Then these are the center. Then scroll down to cards. I want to turn off the background and the border. Then I want to also change the position of my reference label. So where I have reference label, turn that on. Then right now it's below callout. I want it to be on the right of callout. Then the title that I have here, I want students to show. So we have this. The next visual we're going to be creating are the 3 progress donor charts for English reading and writing. So to do that, I will use a card visual as well, the new card. This is the new card. Drag that down here. The measure I'm going to be adding to this new card is the average of map. Then click on the format pin, call out. Okay, let me start with the size and style. Turn off the background. So we have the call out, turn it off. The label as well, turn it off. Then scroll down to where you have card. I want to turn off the background and border as well. Then I am going to add image to this. So this is where we have image down here. So series average math, turn on the image part. The image this time is going to be image URL. Then we're going to go to our SVG measure where you have the math donut chart. So I'm going to search for that using this function here. Measure, SVG measures, the math donut chart, click OK. So we have that in there. Then I'm going to edit the height. I want the height to be 115 and the width also to be 115. So I'm going to replicate this for reading and writing. So I'll click on this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So I have to retain the format. So instead of math, we're going to go to the build part, change this to reading. So we have that in our base measure, average reading. And we're also going to add the donors progress bar for average reading. So where we have image, turn that on, then image URL. So we're going to reconfirm that our donut progress bar has actually been categorized. Okay, I'll categorize this as image URL. Then search for that using this function and measure SVG measures reading. Click OK. So we have that over there for reading. Then I'm going to duplicate this as well to create for writing. So I'll change the reading to writing. Then go down to where we have image, change the image URL to writing donut chart. So we have the three of them. So I'm going to hold down the control key, select the three of them to distribute them horizontally. Align, distribute horizontally. So we have the three of them in here. Next is to add a text box. Click on insert or home, then click on text box. I want this text box to read average score. Increase the size to 18. Extend this. Drag that down here. Turn off the background and align that at the top of this. Then I'm going to be adding a card visual for my average score. So I'll click on this base measure, click on average score. I want it to just be 1 decimal place. Oh, 1. Then turn off the background. Where I have my label, turn it off as well. Call out value, I want this to be 32. And I'll place that on the top of this. So down here, I need a divider to help me to market this too. So I'm going to be using the accent bar of my card visual. So I'll click on format, just search for accent bar. There are a lot of features here. So whenever I'm looking for one, I quickly search. So turn it on. Right now it's on the left. I want it to be on the bottom. And I want the color to be this color. And I want to reduce the width to 1. So as to just give that illusion of there is a demarcation between the up and down part of my card. So now we are done with the card visual. So next visual we're going to be looking at is the distribution of different grades by gender, which is a bar chart. So I'm going to click on my build. So click on bar chart. It's going to be a clustered column chart. Extend that here. Then I want the axis. The x-axis is going to be my grade, different grades. Then my y-axis is going to be number of students. Then the legend part is going to be my gender. So let me clean this up. So click on the format pane, size and style, turn off the background, and scroll down where you have title, label that grade distribution. Then where you have your x-axis, I want to turn off the title. I want to turn off the title, not the value of the y-axis. Then the grid line, I want to turn off the horizontal grid line. Then where I have my columns, I want my female to be this color, while male will be this shade of gold. So right now you can see that my grade is not actually sorted in the way it's supposed to be. So for this reason, I'm going to be creating a helper table. But before that, I'm going to remove the legend name. That's the legend title. Turn that off. I don't need that. So we have this. So I'm going to create a helper table for this. So I'll click on enter data. So I'm going to be pasting my table here. So you can see we have grade and different order. Y0, O is 1, which is outstanding. Then A, B, C, D till F. So this is going to be the grade sort. Then load. So I'll create a relationship between this table I've created and my data set. So I'll go to the model view. You can see the table here, the grid sort. So I'm going to be creating a relationship between it and my student performance table. So manage relationship, new relationship, grid sort, and student performance. So you can see automatically Power BI has detected the two columns, the two grade columns. Save. So we have that relationship. Then let's go back to our table view. So on the grade sort table that I've created now, let me just collapse this. So I'll click on grade and sort it by the grade order. Sort column by grade order. Then I'll go back to my report view. So instead of the grade from our data set, our student performance data, I will get the grade from the grade sort column, table that I've created. So I'm going to remove this and add this grade. So now you can see that my grade has been sorted according to the order it's supposed to be. So the next visual is going to be a table visual of my top 5 students. So I'll click on table, drag that to this part, adjust this to fit this particular placeholder here. Then I'm going to be adding my student ID, gender, and the average score. So where we have our base measure, we have the average score there. So I'm going to start formatting this. Size and style, turn off the background. Then where you have the star preset, change this to minimal. Then I will manually adjust the space between the individual columns. And before we move forward, let's add the filter to show the top 5. So on the student ID, we want to check the top n 5 in our case based on the average score value. So I'll drag average score to this and apply filter so we can see the top 5. Then sort this by descending order. Click on the average score to just sort that immediately. Then let's continue with our formatting, where you have the grid. Horizontal grid line is fine. Then the border, I don't want this color border, I want green. Then where you have the option row padding, I want this to be increased to 9, and I don't want the total to show. Then where you have the values, I want to increase the values to 12 and the column headers to 12 as well. Then I want to turn on the title of the chart, so it's going to read top 5 students. Then next thing I'm going to basically do is to go down to where we have specific cell, that specific column. I want the average score, the value of the average score to be center aligned. So we are good. We have our top 5 students here. So the next chart that we're going to be creating, we want to see the performance of students of different race and ethnicity by the various subjects: math, reading, and writing. So for this, we're going to be using 100% stack bar chart. Bring that here. It's going to occupy this placeholder. So let me just adjust it to fit. Then for the y-axis, we want to see the race and ethnicity category there. Then for the x-axis, we want to see the individual scores for different subjects. For math, we want to add math, reading, and writing. So let's start formatting it. Size and style, turn off the background. Then where you have the title, I want to rename it performance by ethnicity versus ethnicity race. Then where you have the y-axis, I want to turn off the title, and also the x-axis title, I want to turn that off as well. Then the legend, I want to turn off the title of the legend. And where you have the bars, so for the first one, which is map, I want the color of that to be this shade of green. The second one, reading, I want the color to be a shade of gold. And the final one, writing, I want the color to be the shade. So we have this. So I'm going to click on this, click on sort as this, so as to sort the group from A to E, that is ascending order, sort by race and ethnicity. And it's going to be, instead of descending, I want to sort it ascending. So we have A to E, so that it will be easy to read. So the next thing we're going to be creating is the statistical overview of our scores using the box plot chart, just like I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to be using the native line and column bar chart for this. So I'll click on this line and star column chart, drag that down here. So for this, we are going to be using the measures that we've created for our box plot. So we have these measures for our box plot. Let me expand this. So the first thing we are going to do basically before proceeding is to create parameter to house our categories. So from here, you can see that we have this slicer here such that when I select a different category, the visual changes. So I use parameter to create that. So that will be the first thing for us to create right now. So I'll click on model view. Then I have new parameter, field parameter. So I'm going to name this parameter as metric. Then I'm going to be adding some measures to non-measures, in this case the categories. So I'll start with the gender, then the parent education. I have race and ethnicity. I have the test preparation course, and then launch finally. So I'll create this. So we have this. If you look at the table view, you can see the new table that it's created for us, known as metric. So which has this particular different columns. So we're going to be using this metric column here for our chart, and it also automatically added a slicer here for us. So I'll just leave the slicer for now. Let's focus on the chart part. So for the chart, we're going to click on the stack and column chart, then add the metric column, which is this, to the x-axis. Then on the y-axis, the first column y-axis, we're going to be adding the 25th percentile that we created. So let me just expand this so that you can see. So the first one is the 25th percentile, and the second one is going to be the interquartile range, the 25th to 50th. Then next is going to be the interquartile range 50 to 75. Then down here on the line y-axis, we're going to add our mean score. We're going to add the median and average score. So I'll get the average score from our base measure here. Okay. Then we're going to add the max, which is this. So we have that for the build part. Then let's start formatting. So for the y-axis, just like we mentioned earlier, we created this particular maximum y-axis so that we add extra 10% to whatever maximum score that we have in our data. So I'm going to use that as my minimum is 0 and our maximum is, I will click on this conditional formatting in order to bring that in. So it's going to be, click on measure, box plot measure, maximum y-axis. So I'll do the same for both the normal y-axis and the secondary y-axis. Then minimum is 0, maximum. And click OK. So let me select parent education for a clearer view of this. So I will expand this while we edit and scroll down to where you have the columns for all series. For the 25th percentile, I want the color to be white. Then where you have line, let me scroll down. When you have line, turn it off for all series. Then turn on the marker, turn it on for all series, so you can see this different spots. Then for the mean score, I want the shape of the marker to be dash. and the color of it, I want the color to be black. This is black. For the median score, I want the shape of the marker to be this, and the color of it, I want the color to be this shade. And for the next one, which is going to be the average score, I like the shape of this marker, which is round, but I want the color to be this shade of green that we've been using. Then finally, for the maximum score, I want the shape of the marker to be dash, and I also want the color of it to be black as well. So this is black. Then back to the column aspect of things, each individual column. So in this case, the next one is going to be, because we've dealt with the 25th percentile, so the interquartile range of 25 to 50, I want the color of that to be this, my sea green. Then the next one, which is 75, I want that to be gold, the gold that we've been using. Then finally, so we're going to scroll down to the error bar because we want to connect the max and min. So I'll go to max, turn that on, then add the upper band is going to be my maximum score, while the lower band is going to be my minimum score. So now we have this box plot chart. So now we are going to continue with the edit. So where we have the grid lines, I want to turn that off. Then the secondary y-axis, I want to turn off the value as well as the title. I only want the primary y-axis. Then I'm going to also, on the y-axis itself, I want to turn off the title. Then let's work on the legend. So the legend, I don't want the title of the legend. I don't want this to match with the line color. So the legend, different legends have actually matched with the colors of the individual charts that we have. Then where we have the column charts, so let me just select all. I want the layout, the space between different columns to be 44%. So that will give us that individual columns that we need. Then on the x-axis as well, so I have this, I want to turn that off, the title. Then next thing, where we have build, I don't want this particular part to show because we removed the 25th percentile, so I don't want it to actually show on my legend. So in order to do that, I'll clear all and replace that with space, so we no longer have it on my legend aspect of things. So now we have our box plot chart. So I'll go ahead and rename the title, which is this statistical overview of scorers. So the next thing we are basically going to do now is to add our slicer to this top part so that someone can easily select what they need. Turn off the background, drag that to this white space, then change the setting. I want the slider setting to be drop down instead of vertical list. Adjust that. Turn off the header, place that here, use my position to place that where I need that to be, so reduce the vertical position. So when I select parental education, for instance, so I have this. Next thing is to clean up my legend the most so that I can see everything at once. So I'll click on build. So instead of score, I will remove the score part. So you can see that everything regarding my legend is showing here. So the next thing I'm going to do for this chart, basically, if you hover, you can only see associate degree and average degree. But I want to show the individual values of the interquartile ranges, the mean, max, average when someone hovers on any of these charts. If you click on test preparation, for instance, I want to see everything, not just few things. So I'm going to be creating a tooltip page for this. So in order to do that, we are going to click on new page, change that to tooltip page information. I'm going to change this to tooltip, rename it to box plot tooltip. So next, canvas settings. I want this to be custom. I want the height to be, okay, width is 250. I want the height to be 190, or rather 191. Then I'll be adding a card visual. I'll add the new card. Then I'll add my average score. Change the layout of the card so that everything can be shown where I add it. Instead of single row, I want it in column, and I want the maximum showing to be 6. Then add my maximum score, my 75th percentile, okay, this 25th, my 75th percentile, then the median, 25th percentile, then the mean score. So formatting, I want to turn off the background, then scroll down to where I have my color value. Color value for all, I want color value for everything to be 10, and the Sergio UI, extend this, then scroll down to where I have my label. I want the label color to also be 10, I mean the label size, then change the color to my black. Then I want the reduce the space between label and the value itself to 0. Then align baseline, I want to turn that off. Match as well, turn that off. Then scroll down to cards, turn off the background and border. Then turn off the space between cards to 0. Then click on the canvas itself, then increase the size to 300. Then extend the chart so that the numbers will be visible. So we have this. The next is to connect it to our page. So I'll click on the card, go to where we have tooltip, search for tooltip, options. The page I want it to go to is the box plot tooltip. So we have that. So when you hover, you can see the tooltip actually showing that it's working. You can see the different values. So the next chart we are going to be looking at is the comparison between average math score and average reading score to see how the impact of launch, whether standard or free launch, the impact of that on average and reading scores, average math score and reading scores. So to do that, we're going to be looking at, we're going to be using a scatter plot, which is this. So I'll place that here on the placeholder. Then open up my build. On the value section, I'm going to be adding my student ID. On the x-axis, I'm going to be adding my reading score. So I'll go to base measure, average reading. And on the y-axis, I'm going to be adding the average math. So to check the impact in this case, we're going to be adding launch category to our legend. So we have this. Now time to format. Turn off the background. Scroll down where you have title. My title, I want it to be launch impact on reading and math scores. So let me just use the and using ampersand. So where we have our legend, I want to turn off the title of the legend. Then the x and y axis, okay, it's fine to see their titles. Then back to the values. For free launch, I want the color to be this shade, while for standard launch, I want the color to be, the shape is fine, I want the color to be our gold. Then where we have border, I want to, I don't want to match it with a fill color for the both of them. Let me just click on the both so that this will apply to the two of them. I don't want to match it with a fill color. Okay, standard is not taking that shape. Then the border, then I'm going to increase their transparency for the two. I'm going to increase transparency of their border to 50%. So we have this chart here. The next thing we are going to do is to add a title to this chart. So to do that, you're going to click on the text box, label it as Students Performance Report. Increase the font size to 24 and make it bold. So underneath, I'll reduce the font size of that to 14 and make it an italics. So I want to see academic performance, academic year 2023 to 2024. So I'm going to make this ones, I don't want them to be bold. Then I'll turn off the background, change their font color to white, drag that to this end. So next is to add a slicer. So for this page, we want to see gender as well as race. So I'll click on slicer button, add gender to that, then edit it. I want it to be a drop down, slicer setting, drop down, and I want to adjust this, place it here. Then turn off the background. Then turn on for the value. I want the values to be white. so that it will be visible, as well as the slicer header to be white as well. Then the background of the value, I want the background of the value to be this shade of green. So when oh, it's not working. So, oh, the value itself, okay, change the background of the value to this shade. Yeah. So right now we can see that background showing the way it's supposed to. So I'll use the horizontal position to shift this up so that it can fit perfectly. So I'm going to duplicate this for race and ethnicity. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So change that to, instead of gender, we have race and ethnicity. Then we're going to add our button, navigation button here. So before that, I will rename our page. This is the overview, and this is the student details. Okay, so on the overview part, this is what we have. I'm going to click on insert buttons, page navigator. So we have this button here. Automatically it picks up the two pages that we've created as well as their names. So first thing is to change the shape of this button. I want it to be a pill. Then reduce that a little. Okay, I still want to reduce the height, so let me just go to the size. Okay, then increase the horizontal position. I think this is perfect now. Then still on the formatting aspect of things, I want to change the style. So for the default view, for style, right now is selected. So the selected, I want the font color to be this gold, and I want the fill to be this shade of green. Then for default, let's click on default view. I want the font color to be white and the fill color to be a shade of green that I've been using. Also for the selected, I just want it to be bold to show that that is selected. So the font will be bold. So you can see that we have the selected and the default. So when I hover here, I don't like this white thing. So this is for on hover. So I'm going to go down. So select on hover. I want the font color. It's going to be opposite of selected. So I want the font color to be this shade of green, and the fill color to be gold. So when I hover, you can see right now this is the page that is selected, which is the overview. Then when I hover on students, you can see that we have that interactivity. So I'm going to copy everything that I have on this header to the next page because they're basically going to be the same thing. Copy and then paste, don't sync. So I'm going to be adding another slicer to this, which is going to be the student ID. So I'll change this from gender to student ID. So we have that. You can see now that since you're on this page, the student detail page has been highlighted to show you the page that you are on. Then I'll go back to the overview. I need this table because my next page is going to be basically a table and I want to retain this format. So I'll copy this, go to the next table, paste it. expand it to fill up my whole space. Then go to where I have the filter and to remove the top 5 filter. To start with, I'll remove the title. I don't want this to read top 5. Then go to where I have title and turn that off. Go to my build. Rename this to AVG score so that the name will not be that long and we have space. Then add more things to this. I'll add race and ethnicity after gender. Then add parents, education, test preparation. Then I'll add the math score, the reading score, and the writing score. Then finally here I will add the grade. Just click on it. So I don't want the math and all the scores to be summed, so I'll go down, don't summarize. Okay, so I will adjust the table so as to have space for the progress bar chart. So where I have the scores for the individual columns here, I want to change the alignment. So where I have math score, I want the alignment of the value to be center, reading score center, writing score center as well. Then also the average. As well as the header. So we have that aligned. Then I'll be adding my progress bar for the student score that we've created, the SVG bar that we created. So I'll ensure first that it has been categorized as an image URL. So change that to image URL. Then I will add that to my table. So right now you can see that the size has changed. So we click on format, scroll down to image size. We want the height to be 40 and we want the width to be 100. So expand this. When I sort by student ID, you can see each individual values showing. So we have the title disturbing us here. So what I'm going to do is to click on the build and remove everything about the title and just click spacebar. Then extend this. So we still have space over there. So we have our full chart showing and where we have the average score. Just arrange this a little so that we don't have to scroll. So you can see that we have this here. The next thing I'm going to do basically is to add an information icon here that is going to explain to anybody that is opening this what these different color codes mean. So to do that, I'll click on insert button information icon. So drag that down here, adjust it. So I'm going to change the style of the icon. I want the style of the line to be our green. Then where you have the tooltip, I'm going to turn on the action part so that I can see the tooltip. So where I have the tooltip, I'll add the description to show what each individual colors mean. So I'll quickly paste that here. So when you hover on the icon, you can see the average score. When it is less than 50%, it is red. When it is greater than or equal to 50%, amber. And when it is greater than or equal to 75%, is green. So also here, I can see that this part, the alignment is not so cool. So I'll click on this as well. Go to specific column, test preparation. I want to change the alignment to center. So it's utilizing the space that we have here. Then finally, in order before you publish, ensure that you hide this particular tooltip page. It doesn't need to show on your report. So once you hide it, when you publish it on the web, it will not show. It's you are only using it as a helper page. Then I'm going to add an icon here. So I'll click on image, download. So I'll add this icon, adjust this. I downloaded this icon from icons8.com. So I'll put the link to that in the description. So we have our two-page report. When I click, right now I'm on desktop, so in order to go to the next page, just hold down the control key and click on that next page, which is student. We have that page. Then click on overview again to go back to the previous page. So this is the end of this report. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Also, if you need a one-on-one coaching section, you can send me an email and we'll chat about it. Bye and see you next time.